Those chords are, the bottom chords are 4x10. The gusset across there is a 3x10. I gotta crawl up and look at the other side. I'm gonna look at this attachment over here from this side next. That piece of cord there's 30 feet. There's a flake kind of split below the bolts down there, but it doesn't go all the way down. It's grain run out. I think, I'm going to talk to the engineer, but the worst of the damage is in these two shorter pieces on each side. I think if we screwed that or bolted it together and then replaced the gusset there on both sides and a new cord on each side of that might suffice. But I'll of course defer to him. I'll send him my findings and we'll go from there. There's one more thing I got to look at here. I think when they swap the pucker here, that they jiggered that one. So I'm gonna figure out how I want to fix that one. It's no good. There's another little project I worked on about 6 or 7 years ago. They had a company making these for them. They were lasting about a year and a half before they'd break apart. So I told them I'd build them one, give them a 2-year warranty on it. And they just about wore it out, but they haven't broken it yet. I haven't done a single repair on it. It's all T1. Got a big cutting edge on there that they're wearing out. And they lock it onto the forks, and that's what they scoop the shavings up with and put them in the hopper there. It's all made out of 5/8. It's got solid 1-inch rim around the top, and then big fork pockets in there. before I start shoring this up, I gotta see if I can lift this truss. So I have to remove this piece and the piece on the other side. So the way I'm going to attack it is to try to lift in here. The simplest way to do that is just going to be to drive a wedge in there. And if I can create a little space on these bottom chords here, I'll be good to pull them out. We'll start simple, then we'll get a little more involved if we need to, and after that we'll get really involved. All right, I got to back out this square head bolt over here. And I think it's inch and 5/16, 12 point is what fits that. I've got my scaffolding set up. I'm good with that. I've been out on it, working off of it. I have these two cords, this cord on this side and the one on the other side to replace, and then one long one at this end. The one on the other side is good, so I don't have to replace it. And what I've done is screwed this cord to the internal webs of the truss to keep this side from coming off when I take these bolts out to replace the other side first. So what we're gonna do is replace the other side first and then screw it back to it and the other side back to the webs. Those screws can stay in after that point, but they'll help hold it all together. And the reason it's so important to just do one side at a time and to fix it all is because the whole project has these split rings in it, and these have to go back in. I have new ones, but it still needs to be split ringed. So if you lose one side, it makes it really difficult to juggle all of them, because it's got to be way more accurate than you'd ever imagine to get them to go together. So I've just been cutting off the heads or the tails of all the bent bolts that have been damaged, so that I can get them out when I'm ready. But this was just a good opportunity to show you how these are put together. There's a tool that cuts a groove once you've drilled the hole where you want it. There's a dapping tool that goes in and cuts a relief ring half the depth or slightly over half the depth of this ring into the cord and into the splice plate or into whatever you stick it into. And then that gives you the shear strength of essentially a 4-inch bolt. This ring here has a split in it so that it can expand and contract as the wood dries out. Right, so let's see, I've got those backed out. I had a thought about that end and how they put that together and how I'm going to get it apart, and probably what I'm going to find, but I'll cover that later. I have cut off the tails of all these bolts, and I'm going to get a pipe to straighten this to get these backed out so I can start removing the piece on the other side. I should be able to, should have enough slack now to pry that far splice plate away, and I'll check over there as soon as I straighten this last bolt. I think what I'm going to try to do is just slip this out. I'll slack it out a little more and then see if I can get this one to move. I'm not sure if there's another row of nails in there, but I can slip my Sawzall underneath if there is, because I don't have any other access to it. Working on these crossover coil straps here that were sort of buried in that. So it looks like 3 or 4 more nails. Cut a new one. not routing for appearance, I'm routing for assembly, just so it all slides together better and nothing hangs up on a sharp corner. I found working alone, you know, you can't look at the entire length of the beam and know exactly where it's hanging up. So if you can help it slip together, it's probably better. All right, that side is in. I'm gonna release these hard bolts that I got to draw it up. Those ones there. All right, we're gonna move to the other side to finish out the day, and then whatever time I have left, we'll start taking the other short one off. So this is kind of part of the problem with the, see if we can focus on this. It's like old growth up fur. I don't know how many grains per inch that is. I'll count those later if somebody else can.